All right, so this is graphing linear inequalities. So linear inequalities involve two variables, and we graph them. All the order pairs that satisfy the inequality, that's going to be our shaded region. And the steps for graphing the linear inequality are: 1, to graph the boundary line found by replacing the inequality with an equal sign. Then you're going to isolate y. And if it's a less than or greater than, then you use a dash line. And if it's a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, then you use a solid line. And after that, you're going to choose a test point that's not on that line and substitute the coordinate of this test point into the original equation. If it's a true statement, you shade that region. If it's a false statement, you shade the other region. All right, so let's go ahead and do an example. So example number 1, it says 2x minus y is less than 6. So what we're going to do is we're going to replace that with an equal sign. And then we're going to isolate the y. So minus 2x minus 2x, you get negative y equals 6 minus 2x. Then I need a positive y, not a negative y. So you're going to multiply everything by negative 1. So that gives you y equals negative 6 plus 2x. So this is y equals mx plus b. So remember the thing next to the x, that's your slope. So that would be 2. And b would actually be negative 6. All right, so let's go ahead and graph that. All right, so I set up the graph here. And the y-intercept is negative 6. So you're going to go down to negative 6, put a dot there, and then you're going to do the slope. So remember this is 2, but then you could put an over 1, and remember slope is rise over run, so that's going to help you. So you're going to rise 2 and then run 1, rise 2 and run 1, and then you're going to connect those dots. But remember, this is going to be dashed because there's no equal sign here. All right, and then we're going to test a point. So you could either test the point above the line or below the line. Now, if the point 0, 0 is not on the line, that's just a really great point to just test. So the point 0, 0 is here, so it's not on the boundary line. So I'm going to test that. So test point 0, 0. If that test point is on the line, you could choose like 1, 2, 1, 1, whichever one is kind of has small numbers. So wherever you see an x and a y, you're going to put 0, and it's going to be into the original inequality. So 2 times 0 minus 0 is less than 6. All right, so this gives you 0 minus 0. 0 is less than 6. That is true. So that means you're going to shade in that true region. If it was false, then you would shade in the other region. So that would be below the graph. All right, let's move on to the next one. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to replace that with an equal sign. So 3x equals y. Or you could rewrite it with the y on this side. So again, this is y equals mx plus b. M is equal to 3. And b, since it's not actually there, you could put like a plus 0. It's 0. So let's go ahead and graph this. All right, so my y-intercept, we're going to start off with that, is 0. And then our slope is, when we're going to put this over 1, and this is rise over run. So we're going to rise 3, and then run 1, rise 3, and run 1. And then because this has an equal sign, it's greater than or equal to, you are going to do a solid line. Okay, so now here we can't use that test point that I like, the 0, 0, because it's on the line. So instead, maybe I'm going to choose 2, 1. So those numbers are still kind of small. So test point 2, 1. Actually, let's do test point negative 1, 1. That's going to give us a false result, and I'll show you what to do when you get a false. So wherever you see an x, you're going to plug in negative 1. And then wherever you see a y, you're going to plug in 1. All right, so this gives you negative 3 is greater than or equal to 1. That is false. And I'm going to erase this other one. Here is negative 1, 1. So this area was false. So that means you don't shade here. You shade in the other area, which is below the graph. And then that's it. So just to recap, remember your steps are to replace the inequality with an equal sign. You're going to isolate the y if you need to. You're going to graph that line using y equals mx plus b. And you're either going to do a dotted or dashed line. And then you're going to test the point and shade.